Hi there. Okay, I am going to show you how to do the take-home kit for November, which is the Christmas round. So in your kit, you will have instructions, and we'll put those there because I need measurements on that. And you will get a brush, some sponges, and these will be filled with paint. So you'll get your paint and a paper plate. You'll also get a baby wipe in a little container because we're doing the baby wipe method. You will get your round that we're going to start with. There's your round. And then the Merry Christmas. Just be really gentle with these because they are a little bit fragile. I'm going to put that over here. And then your Merry, all your little pieces for Merry. And then a Christmas tree. And then you will also get a stencil to do the buffalo plaid. So I'm going to put all of this aside. I'm going to start out. Now, I have never done the baby wipe method, and so it's the first time for me also on this one. So I always start with the back. So you just need to choose your favorite spot and make that your front. So I'm going to take a baby wipe. Oh, and I probably should have opened this before. I'm going to take the whole thing off. So I have my bottles. I didn't fill the little paint jars for the video. So I'm going to put some paint on my baby wipe. Okay. And then I'm just going to rub all over with the baby wipe. It kind of makes it look a lot like stain, but it's paint. So I'm just putting a little bit on. Until you get the darkness that you want. And these paints, if you're ever wanting to switch out your colors than what I have included in your kit, these are Apple Barrel from Walmart. They're like 50 cents a bottle. Those are what I use. So that's what it looks like. So it's all, and it's going to pick up the grain of the wood. So I'm going to turn it over and do the other side. So the baby wipe kind of gives some moisture to it and keeps it wet. As you're spreading it. Kind of gives it a weathered look also. So I decided to record this video instead of going live. I don't know why live just makes me a little more nervous. Okay, so there we go. You see the spot over here. Now that it went on camera, it's not covered as much. Turn it around. All right, let me put that away. So there it is. So I'm going to lay this aside. Actually, no, not. Yeah, I'm going to lay it aside. And I forgot my painter's tape, so I'll be right back. Well, it was even closer than I thought. It is over here. So you'll need a ruler or a measuring tape to figure this next part out. So you're going to put painter's tape down on that. But until, I'm going to let that dry a second. So on your Mary and your Christmas, they come out really well with the sponges. So you'll have your paints, and then you'll want to use your paper plate to not, you don't want, less is better. You don't want a whole lot of paint on your sponge when you're doing these, and that way the paint won't go down into these edges. It just gives it more of a 3D look if you keep it. So I take the sponge like this, and I put it on my plate, and then I wipe some off, and then I just go across and dab. So I'm going to dab. It's much faster and easier, and you kind of get down in those lines when you're not using a paintbrush. So, and I'm going to be offering these kits every month, and I may do, after the first of the year, I might do a subscription, but right now I'm just going to be doing it as neat as everyone wants them. They can purchase them, kind of give them an idea of what the subscription would be. And then I usually do 2 coats, because the first time you're not going to get every little piece of the wood. And if it goes down below, it's okay too. Put on the side, and I'll do these. Now a trick, if you want to keep these from moving around, take a piece of your painter's tape and make it a loop. Push it down to your paper, and you'll be able to put these down on there where they don't move around as much. There we go. So, see, they're not moving around too much on me, as much as if they were just laying there, and my fingers would be covered in paint also. So I'm going to go back over on the Christmas. The second coat, you can kind of see where you missed and it didn't cover as much. And feel free anytime that you want to change out colors. You know, it's good to have paint around anyway. I've seen people do this in blues and grays, and it looks good. So there it is. I'm going to go over the Mary real quick again. There we go. I think that's good. Okay, I'm going to put that aside. And then we have the Christmas tree. So, I did forget the green. Let's see. I think I've got green back behind you. Some white. This again. Get some paint. And the paint goes a long ways. And I'm dabbing some of the paint off. Go. And I might put a little bit of snow on the edges. Let's see. So I'm just dabbing a little. I hardly have any paint on here. So I'm just dabbing the edges, kind of give it a little bit of snow effect. Okay, so now that this board is pretty dry, I'm going to come back over here, make sure with my Mary. Move that over so it can dry. Make sure I don't have paint on there for the back. Okay, so this is where we're going to be measuring. We're going to be putting painter's tape down in 2 spots. So they want masking tape or painter's tape, whatever you have around. It's about 1.5 inches from the bottom of the round. So the top of the tape will be 1.5 inches, and you can kind of eyeball it. Let's see. So let me get my tape. So let's see. Bring it up a little bit. 1.5 is going to be about there. I'm going to stand up. I'd hate for my example to be crooked. Let's see. See if we have it. The top of the... Okay, so the top of the tape, I just did it wrong. I put the bottom of the tape where the top should be. So it needs to have the top about there. Let's see if I did it. It's about 1.5. Bring it up just a little bit. Okay, so that's the bottom, and then the other piece needs to go parallel about 4.5 inches from the top. So 4.5 is going to be about there. So I'm going to get another piece of tape. There it is. Okay, so that is 4.5 inches. And I'm going to bring it up and see if I got it pretty straight. Let's see. I think it is. Let's see, 4.5, 4.5, and 4.5. Yep, pretty straight. So I'm going to put that on there. And then the next step, you can take some of this off if you need to, if it's not laying right. Okay. So then we're going to paint this whole section red. So I'm going to use my brush, for my foam brush for this part. And we are just going, and then you'll leave the tape there. Don't lift the tape. So we're just going to paint over that. And you want to try not to go over the edge too, you want to kind of keep that edge brown. So you just kind of need to do kind of flat strokes across it. So and you can go over your tape a little bit. And with a live, I would probably be talking to you guys, saying hello, but I would rather do this. Plus, if I mess up, I can redo this video. Let's see. And I guess I probably should have done this before I painted the Merry, and then this could be drying while I painted the Merry Christmas. And some of you, if you requested, have Happy Holidays. But that was just if you requested it. It's looking pretty good. Right here at the edge. Okay. So that part is done, so that's going to look something like that. Just don't go over your paint, over your tape on the other side. So, okay. Need to let this dry. You have in your kit also this stencil, and you'll want to, when you take this off the paper, you're going to want to put it all over your clothes so it's not as sticky. We don't want it to be super sticky like we do when we usually do one of the paint parties with me with the stain signs. With the paint, we're using a different type of stencil, and we're wanting that to not, let's see if I can dry it. We're wanting that not to stick as hard onto the paint, so it doesn't lift off any of the paint. So, trying to get it dry. It's getting there. It doesn't take too long to dry. So I did really lighter coats, not real dark. Okay, I think that's pretty good. So now I'm going to, I'm going to need the black. Where did I put the black? Let's see. Excuse me. Cut reaching over. So I'm going to do some black. And another sponge. Some black paint out here. So I thought these would be fun for some of the out-of-town people to get people together that can't come to one of my workshops or or whatnot. You can get friends together and do it, or you can Zoom together and do it. For those that can't get together. Alright, so we're going to take the stencil off. Now before you peel it off, you know, whenever they come in the mail, you're going to want to take some type of credit card type thing to make sure that the stencil is sticking to the transfer paper. So then you'll take it off. There we go. And you're going to want to rub it on your clothes to make it less sticky. Take it off. Give it some more. Okay, so now we're going to want to line this up. Let me see. So we want to evenly cover this. So the stencil is bigger than your area. So just kind of want to line it up where it's straight. See? But make sure it's on top of all of your red. Kind of squinting. I think I got it. Let me see. Bring it up so I can see. So I have it on there. Then we're going to rub it down. Come back down. Okay. Rub it with your fingers. Okay, and then we're going to remove it. You're just going to kind of, you got to remove this top clear piece without getting the other up. And some of it's, you know, hanging over. So you're going to want to get those edges off, if you can see. It's probably going to be the hardest part of all, is just getting this, maybe if I get it down onto the paper, it'll be easier to come off. Okay, so like this came up here, you want to, that's sticking to the clear paper, you want to press that back down with your fingers. Press it back down and then try to peel again. You're just pressing and peeling. I usually peel it at an angle. Seems to be easier. So, and just keep watching the whole thing as you're peeling, because you don't want to rip this off, because there are little pieces that will just rip loose. Okay. Just another one. Okay, maybe this one's easier if you don't go diagonal, because the stencil is diagonal. It's probably, yeah, that's working better. Move my paint. I'm gonna make a mess. Okay, getting there. I have my paint in the way. And the rest doesn't matter except what's on the edge. Okay. So I keep that aside so when I am taking it off, so just stuck to the paper. Okay. I'm trying to see how this one goes. I've got a few that need to go on there. There we go. I'm just going to stick that back on there. Okay, so now it's ready for us to paint. This one is down there. Okay, so now we're going to take another sponge, and I just had it in my hand. Let's see, where is it? I'll get another one. Okay, so I'm going to dip this in the black, but I'm going to wipe it off onto my plate. And then I'm going to go over the stencil. Just don't go past that green line. I'm going to cover the whole thing. And the less paint you use, the better. You'll have less bleeding when you're barely putting any paint on. And I'm just dabbing across. You just want to make sure everything's even and no like globs of paint anywhere, which hopefully there's no globs since we're not putting that much paint on. Just going across. So I'm going all the way to the edge, even where there's a spot that there isn't stencil, because that's part of the buffalo plaid also. It looks like you shouldn't paint there, but you do. Okay. Skipping over, looking, making sure it's covered. It won't be a bright, dark black. because my red wasn't, completely bright and dark. So as long as you get to the edges and it all looks about the same color, you'll be good. And okay, so there we have, that's what it'll look like. Okay, so if you think you need a second layer, we can do a second layer also. Let's see, you might need it. Back around. That second coat kind of fills in what you missed the first time. And don't want any globs of paint. Just want it kind of even. Okay. Okay, so we're going to remove this right away. So that's why I have this. When I take it off, I stick it onto that paper. It's easier. This is the exciting part when you remove the stencil. And there'll be parts that stick on that we will get. I will have a toothpick in there. Those work. But if like you have a Cricut or things like that, those tools work great. Or even just a straight pin with sewing works. Just keep peeling it off. Let me get a I personally prefer to get stencils off with the straight pen from sewing. That is my preferred. You just don't want to dig down into the wood because then it'll leave a mark for you. This can take a little while to get it all off. I'm going to set that down for this part. I think this is my favorite part. of the process. It's the great reveal from the stencil. You don't want to leave this stencil on. You want to grab it pretty quick. I've never been on video while I was weeding. I'm hoping I'm not making any funny faces like you do when you're putting on mascara. Okay, we're getting there. I see that I have dug into the wood a little bit with my poker. Let's see. Don't be like me. You just need to go straight across so you're not digging down. I'm trying to rush a little bit, so take your time because it'll turn out better if you don't rush. Okay, let's see if I've gotten it all. And I'm going to take this off. Yay! Okay, so there we are so far. You can see buffalo plaid without all the work of buffalo plaid. So next, then we just need to glue these on. So we will have some super glue in your kit. And that will be included in your kit also. Just don't glue your fingers together, please. So we're going to put this on here. And our Mary, be real gentle taking it off the paint. You don't want it to, or off the tape. You don't want those to break in half while you're taking them off the tape. So be real careful and grab them at the bottom. There we go. No trash. So it's kind of nice with, I always line everything up before I start gluing. So I'm going to put this right on the line, but if you want to choose to put it somewhere else, go right ahead. I'm going to line it up here. Have my tree. Oh, and also you have stands. I totally forgot. While you have your black paint out, you'll want to paint your stands black on both sides, because those actually go together. They fold in together, or you place them down in, and then you have your stand. But they'll look nice black instead of just plain. So now we're going to glue. So I take my glue and I kind of dot You don't want a whole bunch of glue. You might want to test your glue before you start doing this. See how fast it comes out on your paper. I kind of run it down a little bit on these little ones, and just try not to get your fingers. And once it's down, it's pretty, and it will kind of slide when you push, but it's not forgiving, so you need to put it where you want it. Let's see, my paper's stuck. There you go. I'm going to glue the E. I usually say dot, but these little things are kind of thin, so you're going to have to kind of run it on there. And if you want to use tweezers to put them down, that might help too. Okay. Kind of slid on me. And it doesn't have to be around on the whole thing, just so you get most of it. Oh, now it's stuck to my finger. Don't be like Lori. Okay. Now for the Merry Christmas. So I think these would be fun gifts for someone who can't figure out what to buy for. They can be a little crafty and do it themselves. This would have been a gift I would have really liked, but I love everything crafty. Trying new things. Oops. Alright, so I'm going to carefully turn this over and kind of visualize it. Don't go away. And with this font, you really can't mess up putting it down because it's a crazy font and it's not straight anyway. The font isn't. So I'm going to do a little bit of pressing. Just try not to break any of the pieces as you're pressing. Okay, and now the Christmas tree. Actually needs a little bit more white. Where's my white? Oh, my white got dirty. Let's see if I can. The bottom of the tree has no snow. Come on. Okay. Okay, and now the tree. So you'll see a little bit of scorching on the back of these pieces, not on the round, but like on the tree and the words. But since they're going to be glued down, it doesn't matter. And you press. So I'm going to get a stand and put it together so you can see the finished product. Yay! Love it. Okay. There you go. It probably is. I don't know if it's back. It looks backwards to me, but I don't know if it's backwards on the camera or not. But there it is, finished. So hopefully you guys had fun with this, and stay tuned for next month's project. So I'll talk to you later. Thanks.